What's up YouTube? This is TractorX64 and we're back. This is a Kerbal Space Program moon landing tutorial. This is part one of the video, and this whole part is going to be building the rocket in its entirety that will help you get to the moon. Before we move on, I'm going to start out by saying that I encourage you to go to Red Baron Owens' channel. Red Baron Owens has an awesome channel. It's got some cool Kerbal Space Program stuff and all sorts of other stuff. He's the one who got me into this game in the first place, and there's a link in the description to his channel, as well as on the screen right now. So please go over to his channel, like his videos, subscribe. You know what to do. So let's go ahead. What we're going to do is land a stock rover on the moon. So we're going to load a stock save file from Kerbal Space Program, and then we're going to build a rocket underneath it, and then we're going to land that. This rocket is probably powerful enough that if you want, you could put a manned lander on that, but for simplicity's sake, we're just going to go ahead and use a stock rover. I plan to do some more videos, probably, if I can figure it out, maybe a moon-based series, or I'm not sure. We'll just wait and see what happens. And also, possibly, when Battlefield 4 comes out, I'm definitely planning on getting that. Most likely for the PS4. And then we're going to get some gameplay for that in the fall. Alright, so you're going to start out with this stock rover here. You're going to pick that little square-shaped cube strut, and you're going to attach that to the bottom of the rover here, just like this. And this will bring down the reach of the structural part of the rover, I guess. Then you're going to go ahead and get a stack decoupler. You're going to attach that to the bottom just like that. So next you're going to want this Rockamax brand adapter, and you can use your WASD keys to flip orient objects when you're building, and you can flip that around so it's like that. Next we're going to, let's get some fuel on here. The Rockamax X200 whatever fuel tank. We're also going to go put two smaller fuel tanks on here. These probably aren't necessary, and we'd probably do without them, but I just kind of put them on there just in case. And we're going to go ahead and put this large mainsail engine on here. Next, let's go ahead and put this Rockamax brand decoupler on the bottom. So that's our completed final stage of our rocket, while not counting the rover. So next you're going to get these big jumbo tanks. You're going to stack two of them on top of each other. And we are going to, let's see, first let's put this engine on the bottom. I'm just going to say right now that my design for this rocket has been heavily influenced by other YouTubers, because that's kind of how I figured out how to get to moon. I kind of based my design a bit. I tried to make it a little bit different, but just an FYI. Now we're going to go ahead and use symmetry, put those decouplers on there, and then we're going to put these fuel tanks on the decouplers. But you'll notice what I did is I attached the decouplers to the main fuselage or whatever before I put them on the decouplers, because there's a bug, and someone posted it on a comment on a video that you can fix that bug. Basically, it won't let you attach anything to those decouplers for some reason. If you attach it to the main body first, it'll work. So that's what I did there, and it fixed. So we're going to go ahead and put two more on top of those, and also two more engines. You can press X to activate symmetry, which you'll probably use a lot in your building. X goes up to symmetry, and Shift X goes back down. I like to use the keyboard shortcuts. Next thing you're going to do is get two fuel valves, and you're going to attach the two. You're going to put them from the outer tanks into the inner tanks, which I did there. You can see on the bottom that yellow pipe on the bottom. That'll feed the fuel into the middle tank, and you'll see when we launch, you'll kind of see what that does. So next you're going to use two symmetry again, put 3 sets of two of these decouplers on the outside of each of these tanks. And what we're going to do here is attach solid rocket boosters onto the outside. This will help us get, for the most part, pretty high up, maybe like, I don't know, 6,000 feet maybe. This will help with the lifting. So you're going to go ahead and put these onto those decouplers. Again, I'm doing that bug thing where you attach them to the main part first, and then you can put them on the decouplers. And I'm pretty sure that applies to like anything you want to attach to these. It's not. I think other decouplers might work. I think it might just be this type decoupler, but I like to use this type, the radial decouplers, I should say, because they kind of give a lot of room in between the rocket and whatever thing you're attaching to it. I actually don't need a parachute. I forgot. I'm not coming back. So next we're going to put, I guess this isn't fully necessary, but I've kind of gotten in the habit of putting parachutes onto the solid rocket boosters. Mostly because I guess it's sort of like an unnecessary aesthetic type thing. Oh man, what did I do here? I lost it. Well, while I'm trying to get this back, I'll mention that if you hold down Shift and click on a part of the rocket, you can move your rocket anywhere, as well as clicking on the base part, like your main capsule, you can move the whole rocket. There's lots of keyboard shortcuts you can use. I'll try to mention most of them in this video. Like I said, you can use the WASD keys to direction things. Also, if you hold Shift and use those, you can fine-tune direction things. It doesn't make sense. You can sort of like direction things in small increments so you can get more precise. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put parachutes onto these solid rocket boosters because this will help. Mostly it's kind of sort of an unnecessary thing because I think it's cool because in real life they tend to do this and the solid rockets will fall back. But it isn't really necessary. It does, however, seem to help kind of keep the rockets away from your rocket so you don't have a crazy explosion, which has happened to me many, many times. Next we're going to go ahead and put these nose cones onto these two outer fuel tanks. Mostly, again, because I think it just looks a lot sleeker. There isn't too much functionality, I think, to it. I mean, I'm sure it helps the aerodynamic a little bit, but for the most part, I just think it looks nice. So that's the main. We have pretty much most of the rocket finished right now, but there's a little bit. Well, I forgot to put Advanced SAS. So go ahead and get Advanced SAS, put it under that adapter, and then you can definitely want that on there. That's crucial. Let's see here. Alright, so now we're going to put struts all over this rocket, which stabilize the rocket, keep it from like wobbling and shaking around. That is crucial. I've gotten in the habit of just putting tons and tons of struts on like everything, and it may look a little weird, and I probably overdo it, but it's just a habit, and it's probably a good habit. So we're going to go ahead and strut these two outer tanks into that middle tank, and we're also going to strut the solid rocket boosters do the same thing, do the solids into the tanks they're attached to. For now, I'm going to keep doing this. Oh yeah, one other thing. Is that it's kind of helpful to use angle snap, which kind of like, or snap to angle, I don't know what they call it. Keyboard shortcut is C to toggle it, and that basically makes, if you're attaching things, it'll attach them to like an angle, like precise angle, which kind of helps you make everything more even. If you want to be more precise about things, you might want to turn it off so you can have more freedom of movement. Also, if you look on the left under the angle snap and the symmetry, you have, I believe, center of lift, center of mass, and center of thrust, I think. And those aren't too important for us to use when we're making a rocket. but if you're making a space plane, they're very important to look at. And if I ever do a space plane video, I'll definitely be like showing you how you can sort of use those to your advantage. They'll help you design a nice stable space plane, which is very hard. I haven't actually successfully done it yet. So basically I'm just strutting these solid rockets into the main fuselage of the rocket just for stability. We're almost done, just a couple more. Oh yeah, one other shift and to zoom in and out in your video. Or not your video, when you're building. To zoom in and out of your rocket, if you hold down shift and use the wheel on your mouse, you can zoom in and out. That kind of helps if you want to get more precise things on there. So I'm also strutting each individual tank to each other. We're also going to go ahead and put struts from these nose cones onto these tanks right here. And then I'll strut, just for a little bit of stability, these tanks together. And although you can't really see them, I think that's just sort of a bug type thing. They will function. They will like hold everything together. So now we're going to get these excuse me, launch stability enhancers. These I suppose these aren't fully necessary, but they look nice and they do seem to help with stability during takeoff. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at staging here. We're going to make sure everything's properly staged in a moment. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can kind of see all the decouplers and rockets and whatnot. Okay. So you want the first stage of your rocket should be all 6 solid rocket boosters and all 3 of your liquid fuel tanks, or not fuel tanks, liquid engines. So basically everything you see on the bottom is your first stage. Pretty simple. Okay, next stage, once we have this last fuel tank. I apologize for the lag. I also apologize for the lack of actual audio from the game. This won't happen again. I just kind of made a mistake there, but everything from now on will have audio. But it's not fully necessary. So next stage is going to be all 6 of those radial decouplers, and you can see when you highlight on them in that staging section, they kind of highlight green in your actual build. So you're going to take all 6 of those radial decouplers as well as all 6 of the parachutes for the solid rocket boosters and put those in the next stage. So that's the first 2 stages. At that point we'll be flying up with those 3 orange tanks. Boosters will be falling down. Your next stage is actually going to be the 2 radial decouplers of the 2 stacks of tanks with the cones on top. Those are going to fly down. You're going to keep going up. Next stage is going to be that radial decoupler that detaches the final stack of orange tanks. Then next stage is going to be that engine right above that. And then we just have our final decoupler. While we activate, we decouple, so from the main stages, so we just have our rover flying around, and then we have the 4 engines on the rover, and then the final decoupler to drop the rover onto the surface of the moon. And that wraps up the build of this rocket. That's part 1. Part 2 is going to be the flight of this to the surface of the moon and also landing. Please like, comment, subscribe, as well as head over to Red Baron Owen's channel, subscribe to him. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and continue part 2. Thanks.